This is the easier-to-read version of 1984 by George Orwell, retold and narrated by Sarah Simpson. Part 1, Chapter 7. Winston continued to write in his diary. If anything is going to change in this society, the proles will have to be the ones to do it. The proles didn't realize how powerful they were. Proles made up 85% of the population of Oceania. If they wanted to take over the government, the party would be powerless to stop them. Right now, the proles wasted their time and energy fighting among themselves. One time when Winston was walking through the street market, he heard hundreds of angry female proles shouting and screaming. He was sure they were starting a rebellion. However, when he actually got to the conflict, he found out they were fighting over a shortage of cooking pots, hitting and trampling one another as they tried to snatch them out of one another's hands. So much passion and energy wasted fighting over cooking pots. Until the proles realized they were being mistreated, they would continue fighting over stupid things, instead of standing up to the people causing the problems in the first place. Most people in the party, like Winston, didn't know very much about proles. Party members learned a little about the proles in school. They learned that the proles had been set free by Big Brother. Before Big Brother came along, the proles were abused by the evil capitalists. They never had enough to eat. Most of them couldn't read or write. Women and children as young as 6 were sent to work in the dangerous coal mines. People starved to death. They were beaten by their evil capitalist bosses. They worked hard and died young, all so the greedy capitalists could make more money. After the revolution, the proles were free. They were safe from dangerous work, received plenty of food to eat, and got a good education. Big Brother had saved the proles, and they loved him for it. That, at least, was what the party members learned in school. Winston knew how often historical records were changed, so he wasn't sure how much of what he had learned in school was true. For all he knew, it could all be lies. The reality was more complicated. Proles were in a lower social class than the party members. Many of the rules that party members were expected to follow did not apply to the proles. As long as they worked in the factories and didn't cause problems, nobody in the party cared what they did. Party members were watched day and night on the telescreens in their homes and businesses. Proles didn't have telescreens. Proles engaged in stealing, drug dealing, and prostitution. The police mostly ignored this. Sex wasn't discouraged among the proles, even sex outside of marriage. If a married couple wasn't getting along, they could get a divorce. The party told its members how horrible it must be to live like a prole, but Winston wasn't so sure. To him, it seemed like proles had more freedom than he did as a party member. Winston was sure that if he could show the proles evidence that the government lied and changed historical facts, that they would be angry enough to rebel. He saw proof of these lies every day at work. He knew that. But the proof the proles would need to be motivated to start a rebellion needed to be bigger than most of the stories he rewrote every day. Winston saw a piece of evidence that was strong enough one time, 10 years ago, but he had thrown it away because he was afraid. If he saw evidence like that at work now, he wouldn't do that. He would sneak it out of the ministry and try to use it to convince the proles to overthrow Big Brother and the party. Winston remembered the evidence he had thrown away that day in 1973. He had been at work, rewriting stories the same way he always did. New papers came out of the tube. In the papers, he found a newspaper article. The article from 1965 showed a photo of 3 men, the first founders of the party and the leaders of the revolution, Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford. They were standing together at a party meeting in New York. Winston was shocked. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Jones, Aronson, and Rutherford had been found guilty of treason and executed. One of the key pieces of evidence against them was that they had stolen money from Oceania and given it to Eurasia. At their trial, all 3 men confessed they had gone to Eurasia and shared Oceania's government secrets. This confession was what led to their deaths. But according to the article in front of Winston, they could not possibly have been in Eurasia. That meant they could not possibly have committed the crime for which they were executed. Winston was looking at evidence that proved the party was lying. His heart was pounding, but he made sure his face stayed calm. He couldn't believe it. Undeniable proof. And he panicked. Instead of putting the article into his pocket and using it to destroy Big Brother and the party, he shoved it into the trash can in the wall. It fell into the incinerator in the basement and burned up, gone forever. Even if Winston still had the article and photo now, it might not even be useful proof anymore. He knew better than anyone that the party was constantly rewriting history. Winston understood why the party benefited from these lies in the short term. The lies kept the people happy, prevented rebellion, and made Big Brother look like a great leader, but what was the long-term benefit of all this lying? What was the purpose of it? Winston wrote in his diary, "I understand how we change history, but I do not understand why we do it." Everything the party said was a lie. They lied in order to get what they wanted, but they also lied for no reason at all. Everyone was just supposed to believe them even when the truth was staring them right in the face. The worst part was that most people did believe them. The party would say 2 + 2 = 5, and they'll all just nod in agreement. Whether the party liked it or not, there were some things that were just true. Some things were wrong. 2 + 2 did not equal 5. Winston was sure that things would change in Oceania if people would stop accepting the party's lies as truth. He wrote in his diary, "Freedom is being able to say that 2 + 2 makes 4. If we can agree on that, everything else will start to change."